Xi Jinping was welcomed to Zurich Airport by his Swiss counterpart, Doris Leuthard. President Xi said he looks forward to meeting senior Swiss officials and making contact with Swiss people. President Xi also said he hopes China can work with Switzerland to strengthen bilateral cooperation and boost world economic growth. President Xi plans to attend the 47th World Economic Forum in Davos on Tuesday, where he will explore ways forward for world development along with fellow attendees. He'll then go to Geneva, where he will visit the United Nations office and the World Health Organization. President Xi also plans to visit the International Olympics Committee headquarters in Lausanne.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas says if U.S. President-elect Donald Trump goes through with plans to transfer Washington's embassy to Israel to Jerusalem, it will hurt the peace process. Commenting as he opened a Palestinian embassy at the Vatican, Abbas reiterated his opposition to the possible transfer of the U.S. embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, as President-elect Donald Trump had indicated he might do so. In an interview with the Le Figaro newspaper on Saturday, he also said the Palestinians would discuss several options on how to respond after consultations with Arab states. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has reiterated the One China principle is the political foundation of China-U.S. relations, and it's non-negotiable. It was in response to comments made by the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, who said all U.S. foreign policies are under consideration, including the One China principle. The Foreign Ministry urged the U.S. to fully understand the sensitivity surrounding the Taiwan issue, approach Taiwan-related issues with prudence, and honor the commitment made by all previous U.S. administrations. To Paris now, where major powers are preparing to send a message to U.S. President-elect Donald Trump that a two-state solution between Israelis and Palestinians is the only way forward. They're also expected to warn that his plan to move the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem could derail peace efforts. Some 70 countries, including key European and Arab states, as well as the permanent members of the UN Security Council, will join the meeting. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected it as futile and rigged. Neither the Israelis nor the Palestinians will be represented. But just 5 days before Trump is sworn in, the conference provides a platform for countries to send a strong signal to the future American leader. 1.5-meter rocket lifted off from the Uchinura Space Center in the south of Japan, carrying a 35-centimeter microsatellite weighing 3 kilograms. But the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency says data transmission was cut off seconds after the rocket's first motor burned out, causing the flight to be aborted. The launch was meant to test if a microsatellite could be put into space using low-cost commercial technology.
Former United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has said it is appropriate for South Korea to be the site of a U.S. anti-missile system that is due to be deployed later this year. He was quoted as telling reporters at a memorial for the 2010 sinking of a Navy ship that South Korea blames on the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. China objects strongly to the planned deployment of the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, or the THAAD system, as it worries its powerful radar can penetrate its territory. Ban returned to South Korea on Thursday after his decade at the helm of the United Nations ended in December. He has yet to say whether or not he will run for president.
Relentlessly working for 18 days, these artistic fingers slogged to restore the minutest detail of the 75-year-old condolence message by Chairman Mao. Chinese calligraphists Zhu Pinfang and Zhao Li combined traditional and new scientific methods to restore the letter.
I think this document is very, very significant and a symbol, and it's a symbol for the friendship of China and India. I think it did a very good job. This time it's a golden opportunity to restore this historical heritage.
This 3-foot-long letter was written on traditional rice paper using charcoal black ink. Chairman Mao wrote this moving condolence message to Dwarkanath Kotnes's family after his death. Kotnes was a medical doctor who went to China in 1939 for medical assistance during the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. Commemorating his work, Chairman Mao said in his message, "The Chinese army has lost its arm and the nation its friend."
He worked day and night to save lives. He worked tirelessly for almost 5 years, serving the people of China. He fell ill while working, and he passed away attending people.
The plans to restore this message came about in 2014 after it had undergone major wear and tear. The restored letter was handed over to the Indian officials earlier this week. It is expected to attract a number of visitors after it finds a place in a museum.
At 1,560 meters, Davos is one of the highest alpine resorts in Europe. Every January, the relaxed town turns into a busy meeting place where the richest and most influential people in the world gather to discuss pressing global issues.
It is just days before the World and town has entered its peak season, and the population of this town has tripled from around 12,000 to over 30,000.
In the 19th century, Europeans came to Davos to seeking treatment for lung disease, and many sanatoriums were built in the town. Some doctors believe the dry, arid mountain climate would help tuberculosis patients because it would dry moisture from their lungs.
This place is one of the inspirations for Thomas Mann's famous novel, The Magic Mountain, and still pretty much the same like old times. And people just lying there and breathing in the clean and dry air and enjoy the beautiful view of this magic mountain.
Surrounded by snow-capped mountains, Davos is a winter sport wonderland that attracts winter sports lovers from all over the world.
Look at this snow and sunny weather. It's no wonder that people come here for skiing and snowboarding in this fantastic atmosphere.
Song Shuyao is a former freestyle ski athlete on China's national team. She was attracted by the magic mountain and decided to work here after retirement.
Yeah, I think the reason is I want to open my mind. And I'm coming from snow industry. I know I have the education even in national team of a freestyle ski. So I have this experience, but I want to help Chinese to go different places to see what's the real world. So this is the reason I work here, the attractive working here.
The first meeting of the World Economic Forum took place here in 1971. Since then, its prominent guests have found the spirit of Davos extraordinarily inspiring.
Well, the spirit of the force is actually coming together and talk about important topics as friends and not as global leaders facing each other. So it's actually a free environment, and you can talk also freely.
Over the next few days, the small town of Davos will become a place for big ideas, with relaxed, informal discussions about the world's most pressing problems. Zhang He, CGTN, Davos.
Established in July 2012, the Sino-Swiss Zhenjiang Ecological Industrial Park was built based on a bilateral initiative between the Chinese and the Swiss governments, guided by the Chinese Ministry of Commerce and the Federal Department of Economic Affairs of the Swiss Confederation. Unlike traditional industrial parks, this one, co-founded by China and Switzerland, focuses more on ecology in order to build an eco-industrial base, innovation center, as well as intellectual property exchange platform. And it comes with no surprise that the first product manufactured by a company located in the park was an eco-friendly window shade installed on many of the premises buildings.
Boasting over 150 years of history, Schenker Storn has been a leading company in energy-efficient buildings. Our products are listed as a must-have for green building criteria in Switzerland. The Swiss government paved the way for the establishment of our company in China. This came in cooperation with the Chinese Housing and Urban Rural Development Ministry.
The high-valued importance of ecological-friendly manufacturing has attracted Swiss chemical company Clariant, who, for years, spotted the Chinese market since 2005, finally setting up their Chinese sales headquarters in the ecological industrial park.
We were a Swiss company with the policy of sustainability that we have and the values that we represent was also one of the criteria why Zhejiang was interested to welcome us here in the park. So I think that the fact that there is a relationship between Switzerland and Zhejiang is supporting us. I think that we are also looking at Zhejiang for many projects. We are looking. As you may know, it's getting more and more difficult. It's getting more difficult in China currently because of the very high capacity which has been built in China.
His Chinese site manager, on the other hand, sees the cooperation between the factory and the local government in another way.
It's mutually beneficial in terms of technology and development. It's not just a mere investment. The industrial park has been offering us energy-saving solutions, and we, in turn, provide advanced technologies or information on reducing chemical factory pollutions, which can then be applied at other factories. It goes beyond money.
The ecological industrial park has also pushed the local government to reposition itself from governor to platform provider.
We had gone through 76 rounds of negotiations with the Swiss government before determining our roles in the cooperation. Attracting investment is important, but the advanced technology and concept is what we're lacking here. So we're now targeting technology imports, intellectual property exchanges, management model sharing, all based on the Swiss companies operating in our park.
Since the inception of the China-Switzerland Free Trade Agreement in 2014, bilateral trade and mutual investment reached $44.27 billion in 2015. Listed as the most innovative country in 2015 by the World Economic Forum, Switzerland will and continues to be one of China's most important strategic partners in technology research and innovation. Hunan, CGTN, Zhenjiang, Jiangsu Province.
Recently, you have given the permission to this company and extend its contracts with the two local oil companies in your country. So what impact will this extended contract bring?
It means that the oil production will resume in the areas that where we had shut down. The oil production increase will now be increased because we used to produce 350,000 barrels a day in South Sudan. But now we are producing only 130,000 barrels a day because of the crisis. I wanted to take it back to where it was, or even more, because we are capable of producing more than 350,000 barrels a day. We can produce 500,000 or even 1 million.
Well, as we know, South Sudan has abundant oil resources, but a lack of infrastructures, including refineries, pipelines, and ports. So your government has been trying to build a pipeline connecting the capital to Kenya to deliver the oil. So how's this program progressing so far?
Well, the Republic of South Sudan and the Republic of Sudan, we are friends. We are close friends. We are brothers and sisters. Currently, we are using the pipeline that is going to Sudan, and we are exporting our oil through Port Sudan. So we will continue to use that pipeline. If there are new discoveries in the country, because that's why I also extended the oil exploration time for the CNPC and Petronas. to explore an ONGC. So for me, currently we will be using the pipe that is going to Port Sudan. The other alternative pipelines will actually be put on hold until there are new discoveries.
Recently, there's a new deal between your country and the Sudan has reached about the pipeline. Can you tell us more about this new deal? And are you happy with it?
Yes, I'm very happy with it because the deal is basically strengthening the relation between Sudan and South Sudan in the oil industry. We will continue to use the pipeline. We will also continue to pay Sudan the transitional financial arrangement. It is an assistance to Sudan. We will be paying it. In return, we will be borrowing power from Sudan to South Sudan to resume the oil production. We will also be using the base camp that are in Sudan for my oil workers in the Republic of South Sudan. We will be also importing critical materials from Sudan to South Sudan. So that is the relation that we have, and that's the agreement that I have signed with the Sudan government. Sudan
will also charge a fee for your oil. How much is that? Are you happy with the price?
Well, these are commercial terms. I'm not happy with it. If there is a way to renegotiate it and reduce it, because there are two fees. One is the transitional financial arrangement. This is $15 per barrel. And then the other ones are commercial fees, transportation, transit, and processing fees. These are three fees in one. So one pipeline is $9.1 a barrel. The other one is $11 a barrel. These are the fees that Sudan is charging us.
It's China's first strategic partnership that features innovation as a central component, and it was signed last April with Switzerland. The country, which is ranked by the EU as the bloc's most innovative nation, boasts a prosperous and high-tech economy. But that's going beyond its borders, as Swiss tech firms are looking at more opportunities to work with their Chinese counterparts.
A lot of Chinese companies have created affiliate in Switzerland. Now there are a lot of acquisition of Swiss company by Chinese company, but I'm fully sure that in the future it will be much more. And then the process will be also much smoother because both China and Switzerland are learning to know each other and to make the transaction faster and smoother.
But diplomats believe there's more to the partnership than just business exchanges and cooperation.
For us, we do not understand that innovative partnership should stricto sensu apply only to science and innovation. For us, it is a broader concept. First, it includes the political dialogue. It also includes a dialogue with regard to investment, to trade. It has to do with environment. It has to do with, for instance, work benchmarks, safety on the working place.
Analysts say that with increasingly warmer ties, China will continue to serve as a major market destination for Switzerland. And in the opposite direction, the Swiss have a lot to offer, as the country is often seen as a major international business and financial center.
This relationship between China and Switzerland covers now areas where people are involved. Before, it was more cooperation at government level. Now it is about people. It is about tourists and travelers. It is about investors. It is about artists. It is about sport people. Now really the relation has become so dense that you can really speak of a common interest not only between governments or among governments, but people come to know each other much better than it used to be 10 or 20 years ago.
Authorities in Turkey have arrested 2 Chinese citizens allegedly linked to the terror attack carried out on a nightclub in Istanbul earlier this month. Turkish state-run media add the 2 arrested belong to the Uyghur minority, predominantly found in northwest China. The 2 are accused of aiding in the shooting, which left 39 people dead and 69 wounded on New Year's Day. Islamist militant group ISIL has claimed responsibility for the attack. The 2 Chinese citizens were also accused of being members of a terror organization involved in dozens of other attacks.
The dazzling stage,
Aggressive push Slemmy again.
9-language commentaries, and players who look like superheroes. You may not understand what they are doing, but you can feel it. The esports competition is serious business. These are the finals of the World Electronic Sports Games in the city of Changzhou. 60,000 players from some 120 countries and regions came to the game battling for a share of the prize pool of $5.5 million. Team Envious from France just entered the quarter-final of Counter-Strike Go.
I feel really great. The competition is good. China is pretty good, and we have like so many fans here. They give us some love. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
For the Chinese players, esports has become a life-changing opportunity.
I became a professional player when I was 16, about 10 years ago. Counter-Strike was on the brink of disappearing. But since last year, investors and sponsors have flocked to the games industry, so everything is different now.
In 2016, the size of China's esports industry has surged to nearly $6 billion, and there's huge market potential is attracting many internet giants. And Alibaba is the latest to enter this high-stakes arena.
Alibaba's sports business branch Ali Sports has forked out $14 million in sponsorship for this event.
More and more people start to like esports, and what the young people like represents the future. So Alibaba is willing to bet on it and actively engage into this industry.
The company says it's not trying to make a profit at this stage.
In the long term, a profitable model is needed, but we have a 10-year plan to build a world-class event. So in the short term, we're not particularly concerned about whether we make a profit or not.
The global esports audience has tripled to 335 million people in the past 3 years. Ali Sports says one day esports will be part of mainstream culture. Gu Yunfei, CGTN, Changzhou in Jiangsu Province.
The global economy has been going through uncertainties in recent years, even going back towards protectionism. But one thing for sure is that China and Switzerland are going upstream against the current. In 2013, Switzerland became the first continental European country to have signed a free trade agreement with China, and last year the two countries signed a first-of-its-kind innovative comprehensive partnership. The Chinese president's upcoming visit is set to upgrade relations and business cooperation to a whole new level.
President Xi's visit to Switzerland is sending a very clear message to Europe. No matter how bad the situation Europe is facing right now, China will always be a strong support to maintain the China-Europe ties of prosperity and stability.
China stands ready to carry out more cooperation with Switzerland to embrace the fourth industrial revolution. The two sides are set to open up new areas. Swiss President Luther said they should share more experience as innovative cooperation proceeds.
I think it was a honor also, and that China and Switzerland could sign and enter in a new phase of cooperation. And it shows that we both think innovation is key for the future.
Now China is playing an increasingly active role as a responsive and responsible global economy. The Swiss president said the world needs China's wisdom. Her country looks forward to further cooperating with China with mutual trust.
We will see an increasing potential of cooperation. We are signing some agreements in different areas. I hope that this state visit will increase our cooperation in all these new fields which are important for tomorrow.
The World Economic Forum has served as a weather vane for the world economy. With Chinese President Xi Jinping set to attend this year's sessions, observers are suggesting China's role in the world is going to be one of the main focal points at this year's event. And his opinions on global economic issues have attracted much media attention.
I would like to know what he thinks about the China economy. What he wants to do with the China economy? What's his goals? I mean, there are different what should I say, challenges, also not only for the whole world, also for China.
Leaders from international organizations are also eager to hear China's voice and President Xi's understanding of leadership in maintaining the current international system.
2017 is a key year. It's a key year to make sure
that the resilience of these institutions, their capacity to resist disruptions, is proven. And that resilience are really determined by how the big players can really sustain the system. This is where I think China has a very big role to play.
Apart from attending this year's Davos session, the Chinese president is also due to stop at the United Nations in Geneva. He will also visit the World Health Organization and the IOC headquarters. And the Swiss people believe that the Chinese leader places great emphasis on the notion of multilateralism.
My hope is that he will be very pleased for these visits, and that my president and him will decide to work together on Beijing 2022 and Lausanne 2020. That would be a dream.
President Xi will also deliver a speech on establishing a community of shared destiny at the Palace of Nations. And finally, the Chinese leader is set to meet UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, marking their first meeting since the latter took office on January 1st.
Extraordinary training for an elite and smarter force. These are the soldiers of the PLA Special Operations Force. Everything is based on what's needed in modern warfare. These maneuvers and assault exercises are the basics for a joint operation.
After 12 years of intensive and tough trainings, I have obtained the characters of courage and perseverance. That's the biggest transformation on me. The original pool for selection of the Special Operation Forces had been over 100 soldiers, but after the training, only 30 qualified soldiers have been left. I was one of them. The reason I can stay in the unit is my perseverance and hard work.
Jashimuga's unit was expanded from the infantry to brigade scale at the end of 2013. It's part of the reforms to build a ground troop capable in modern warfare.
There were many changes over the past years to transform the unit into a more capable one in actual combat. For example, we had never been training at midnight for driving, boating, diving, and parachuting with armament.
Sniper training is crucial. As a senior SOF, Jiaxi wants to share his experience with young soldiers. He says the key is not the physical toughness under harsh conditions, it's acquiring the proper mindset for a modern SOF. Jin Song has participated in many joint operations. He says the Army's SOF is a test for the transformation and a push for strength. The Army has a dozen SOFs, each with its unique strength and code names. His unit is the Eagles.
The training is all based on actual combat situations. We want the training to have the same effect on soldiers as on an actual battleground. This is to minimize the distance between training and live combat for SOF forces that have not undergone a real test of war. We place great importance on joint operation training as well. We have conducted many such joint exercises in the past years with the air and naval forces.
The Chinese military has embarked on a sweeping reorganization aimed at transforming it into a leaner, more modern army. That means fewer soldiers, but the Special Operation Forces are being strengthened to fulfill their new missions.
Chinese SOF units are relatively young, with roots in earlier reconnaissance units. As new type units, they receive priority for development. SOFs are found in every military theater command and the Navy and the Air Force. These soldiers have turned in excellent performances in international competitions, and they have demonstrated their capabilities in many missions. But many believe the real transformation is to take place in the years to come, and more sophisticated joint operations have yet to be tested in actual combat.
Modern warfare has raised higher requirements for Special Operations Forces in regards to their military skills and psychological endurance. We need to find more qualified soldiers from the whole army and build a stronger special operations forces to meet future challenges.
My biggest plan is to focus on one thing. That is to help train young soldiers, to let them obtain the skills and form a more elite and bravery unit in the army.
SOF soldiers like Zhang Ximuga are undergoing more intensive training than ever before. They say they're willing to sacrifice themselves in defense of their homeland if China finds itself at war. The building up of China's SOFs represents a shift in the operational thinking from an army-dominated force structure to integrated joint operations with a highly flexible elite force. Han Bin, CGTN, from the PLA Northern Theater Command.
The Polish Prime Minister on Saturday welcomed thousands of U.S. troops under a NATO deployment to the country, which is being seen as a show of force of Russia. In the largest U.S. military reinforcement in decades, the 2,700 troops are part of Operation Atlantic Resolve, which aims to beef up and train Eastern European allies. The move has resulted in a sharp rebuke by the Kremlin, which labeled the deployment as an aggressive step along Russia's borders. Poland, Bulgaria, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Romania had requested the NATO assistance after Moscow's annexation of Crimea in 2014, fearing further Russian military operations in the region. A senior Russian Air Force commander has announced the deployment of more S-400 Triumph missile systems to Crimea, but kept mum on when exactly the surface-to-air missile systems would be deployed. On Saturday, 8 mobile air defense missile systems deployed in Crimea were put on combat duty near the city of Feodosia. This comes after U.S. President Barack Obama announced the one-year extension of sanctions against Russia for its purported annexation of Crimea and its use of force in Ukraine.
We have, of course, a cameraman following the whole visit in order to get all the images from this visit, and we are going to report about the official part, what they say, the meetings, the handshakes, the things people are going to say on the Chinese and on the Swiss side, and then it also gives us the opportunity to broadcast other stories about China.
China has been not only performing at the domestic level, lifting millions and millions of people out of poverty, but also now becoming a big innovator in technology, in solutions from urbanization to infrastructure to, again, high-end technologies, and then with respect to policies.